How strange it is. My very core, my deepest fibers, my entire existence is frozen in this constant perplexion of agony. And yet, the sight of her face, the memory of her touch, makes me feel something different. I cannot quite place it, but yes, I do believe it is. One of the only warm things I still carry with me. Hope. How does the saying go? You never know what you had until you've lost it. I have lost everything. My life, my love, the ability to walk down a summer beach with a hot wind in my face and a warm hand to hold. Ah, yes. I'd kill for that. But alas, that right was taken from me. By whom, you ask? By myself. My veins are frozen, Doctor, but my heart is heating over. It is blazing with the love for my wife, the longing desire for the warm days of the past, and anger, so much anger for so many people. Gothcorp, Ferris Boyle, myself. I've hid it for too long. The truth, Doctor, the truth must out. I was once Dr. Victor Fries, a researcher at Gothcorp, a professor in technology, and most importantly, happily married. Nora, my beautiful, heartwarming wife. I swear to you, Doctor, those who would still call me insane need only behold her face to understand. Her face, the cheeks upon which light rays danced, a smile that would make an iceberg thaw, the eyes which housed a single spark. This spark. Divinity. Nothing less. Ah, yes. Everything I did for her. If anything were to threaten us, I'd banish it forever. Nothing would do us part. Not even death. Nora was diagnosed with Huntington's chorea, a permanent disease with a cure for only a few symptoms. It's like a parasite, slowly, steadily deteriorating the brain from the inside. She had no family history of it, so when I first heard, I was shocked. She said she hid the symptoms from me, in fear of worrying me, in fear of disrupting my work. How foolish I was! How could I not have seen? How could I not have noticed? If I hadn't been so self-absorbed, I could have started research in time. I could have. She told me this one evening, just before we went to bed, just before the sun was to set, on our last happy days together. She told me, and I tried to speak. I couldn't. Instead, we sat on our bed whole night through, holding each other's hands, quietly weeping into each other's shoulders. We did this every night. Every night until that last. And every night, ever so slightly, our hands would grow colder. This I could not allow. I could not let it happen. To this date, Huntington's chorea still has no cure, but I'm a doctor, and I know that with enough hard work and dedication, I could find a cure. I told her this one evening, and for a split second, when I gazed into her eyes, I could see it. Hope. I did what had to be done. I put her in cryostasis. I froze her body down so that the disease wouldn't escalate. I planned to revive her the minute I'd found a cure. However, whilst it would seem that her heart did belong to me, the rest of her belonged to Gothcorp Limited. The CEO, a man by the name of Ferris Boyle, decided to shut the project down. He said it was an unnecessary consummation of company's money and time. He was about to destroy all my research, but fate was on my side that day. I decided that using my newly developed cryotechnological sub-zero freezing ray, I could scare Boyle. I threatened entire Gothcorp to be able to escape with the canister holding my wife. And then came the headlines. Insane doctor kidnaps own wife. Crazed researcher attacks Gotham with freeze gun. Hunt for ice-cold psychopath begins. I was unemployed in a city which hated me. And a dying wife. I was more determined than ever to find a cure for her. I was forced to finance my research, to turn to criminal activities. I robbed cargoes, banks, wherever I could come across. All to save my wife. All the while, that glimmer of hope still burning. The hope that one day we'd walk down that summer beach once more, hand in hand. I know what you're thinking. You are contemplating how I became this abomination, this freak. How come this room is cooled down to sub-zero temperatures? How come my skin is pale white and I cannot survive less surrounded by cold? Some would have you believe it was a horrible accident caused by Boyle as I fled Gothcorp with my wife. That's the story people like to believe. The mad scientist born out of accident. Neat. Let me tell you the truth. The antidote for Nora's illness is simple in theory, but not so much in practice. Its development requires extreme environments. Imagine a unique enzyme found only in the Y chromosome of a human being. An enzyme that could only be fully developed in a living body under a very long time and only in the sub-zero temperatures. Ah, yes. Now you understand. This, what you see before you, yes, I did it to myself. I did it. This freakish abomination is an alteration in my DNA. An alteration so that I could attain the missing compound to the cure. That was 40 years ago. The enzyme takes longer than I anticipated to take form. I continue stealing, robbing, assassinating, all to sustain my wife in cryostasis. But whilst she remains the same, I can feel myself growing older. I see my face in the mirror and I see the crow's feet, the eyes, the tired eyes. And then I look at her. Preserved, forever young, forever beautiful. It's been so long that I have changed so much. Was it worth it? Is it worth it? And then I look at her face. For that face, Doctor. Yes, it is.